Hi, and welcome to God Works Weekly. I'm Jeff Heisner. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Concordia Market. And now we're also on YouTube, so check us out there. We wanted to share two stories of these great ministries and how God is working in that ministry. We begin with Church Doctor Ministries and Dr. Tracy Swank.
For over 20 years, we've been taking groups of ministry leaders to Manchester, England, London, England, Sheffield, Birmingham, all across the UK, looking at what God is doing there in a highly secularized culture. And we've been using the UK as a classroom to understand missional and pioneering ministry, quite frankly, because they've been consistently working at this for a lot longer than we have been doing in the United States. And so we look at England as a classroom for what pastors and ministry leaders could learn in a very similar culture, highly secularized and becoming even more secularized, and what we can learn from those ministry leaders just around how we can take the gospel out to our communities in the neighborhood and marketplace ministries, all those types of creative pioneering ministries. So we see God really moving, working, and blessing in creative and pioneering ways, also in ways that are reaching young people. There's something going on right now in the UK called the Quiet Revival, where they're just seeing hundreds and thousands of young adults just walking into churches to worship and to go through Bible studies and to join in discipleship and spiritual formation. So God is definitely doing something there in the UK, and we believe at Church Doctor Ministries that God's going to do the same thing here in the United States, and we need to be ready for it. And so that's why we take people to the UK.
Next is William Utek with the story of a church plant called Royalry in the Minnesota South District.
So the Ethnic Immigrant Institute of Theology at Concordia Seminary, our district would help sponsor those men to get that theological education. We'd help support them in their ministry while they carried it out in the metro area. One of these guys who came from Liberia, Matthew Cephas, was a church planter in Liberia. He came to the United States. He started planting a church, right? Mm-hmm. It is called Royal Family. And Matthew became an EIIT student. And as he went through that program, he's still pastoring his church, and his church gets evicted from the building that they're worshiping in right before Thanksgiving. And we went to one of our Anglo congregations in Northeast Minneapolis. We asked them, would you make room for Royal Family? And at first, they're very hesitant. They're very wary. And we need to have a voters meeting before we can decide something like this. I mean, this is like a week before Thanksgiving and the holidays, right? I said, listen, this is about Christian hospitality now. These people, these Christians, these brothers and sisters in Christ deserve a place to worship during Christmas, during Advent and Christmas. And God bless them. They open their doors and our Anglo congregation opened their doors and welcomed them in. Well, as time goes by, they get smaller. They don't have a pastor. Matthew Cephas is there with Royal Family. Matthew Cephas graduates from the EIIT program, and next thing we know, the Anglo congregation is calling him to be their pastor as well. This is how it works. This is the book of Acts. When a black man who immigrated from Liberia gets a solid Lutheran education and becomes the pastor of an Anglo congregation that has gifts and resources that can help the Liberian congregation. And next thing you know, in a city that was torn by racial strife, they see people who are red and yellow and black and white all worshiping together and all kneeling at the foot of the cross. That's what it's supposed to look like.
going inside Concordia Market, and this week we're checking in on Lamp Ministries. If you haven't heard of them, you've got to check them out. Here's Executive Director Steve Shave, and he explains what takes place on a mission trip with Lamp in the very remote parts of Canada.
So Lamp is kind of known as the VBS people. And actually, even when we get to the indigenous villages and reserves, we're referred to as the Bible teachers. So when we get to town, the Bible teachers come to town and put on a vacation Bible school. But it's always funny because it never just ends up being a VBS. But inevitably, you're never going to get away with just that because the youth are going to come hang out. They're going to be waiting outside the gym, just waiting to hang out with the volunteers. So usually you're going to have like a youth night where you're playing games. You're going to have a youth night where you have a little devotion time and eat together. Typically the ladies are going to get invited to some sort of a ladies' tea, maybe study the Bible together as well. The guys, who knows, you might get called up for a hunting expedition, go out fishing with the guys, just hang out. They have heritage days a lot of times where they do a lot of their traditional cultural things that you can hang out with them for. You typically go there thinking you're going to be a Bible teacher, and the next thing you know, you're just really part of the whole fabric of the community for that entire week, hanging out with folks. They're just so excited. They live in these super remote locations, and they have visitors. It just means the world to them because they know how hard it is for people to get up there. Even though I just explained how it's really not that hard, but it is still for somebody living so alienated from the rest of the world, pretty neat to have people in town. So you get treated like royalty.
Find out more about Lamp and how to join a mission team. Just go to concordiamarket.com/lamp. Time for What You're Reading. Dr. Jason Paulser from the Marrow Center is here to share what he's reading right now.
I am reading a book called Embodied by Greg Allison. And I'm just getting into it, but it's really meant to help us rethink how we think about the integration of faith and health. And that it's not two separate things that we have to try and divide and look at separately, but we're actually embodied creatures, that we have been created by God, body and soul, and that's for a purpose and a reason. And the gifts we've been given in our bodies, the opportunities we've been given in this world that He's created for us, and how do we best use that to His glory and to love others through that. So that's the book I'm reading now. It's called Embodied by Greg Allison.
Leave us a note in the comment section or email me directly. We want to hear all about those cool things that are happening in your ministry or in your neighborhood. And if you want to find out anything more on the topics that we've discussed today, make sure to check out the show notes. Thanks for watching God Works Weekly.